Okay, so this is my first time in hometown. Luke Rosenthal used to come here a lot. He just retired this year. And another gentleman, James Baker, used to come a couple times, I think. So they're like, hey, this thing's coming up. Our main two guys that go aren't going, so can you go? And I'll be sure. So thank you guys for having us. I've been at TDA for almost 19 years. So I've known about hometown, I just have never been really involved. So know enough to be dangerous. So today I'll just do a quick intro on T because I know some folks like Doug out here have no idea what TDA is. And so this is for him. Teasing a little bit, and then just touch on data dynamics. And then I thought just one thing we're hearing a lot from customers is just resource planning trend. So they're going to touch on that briefly. Quick overview: TEA is a wholly owned power by these 7 members, and each one of these CEOs or GMs sits on our board. So Mark's very familiar. When he was CEO of AMP, he was on the board. He could probably talk about this better than I could. But these are our current 7 owners. TA was originally formed just because, public power, the original 3 founding members were JDA, MEAG, and Sandy Cooper. And I think there's a lot of complexity in the public power space, a lot of things to try to control and manage. And then you have this complex energy market, it's dynamic, competitive, specialized skill sets. And so T was kind of the bridge between public power and then having economies of scale in the market. So that was kind of why T was formed. I mentioned economies of scale, but just a couple highlights. We've really grown over the years. We did over $4 billion in revenues last year, 270 employees. Our home office is in Jacksonville, and our second office is in Bellevue, but we have a few folks scattered throughout the country as well. Did over 300,000 transactions last year, #1 in volume community-owned entities, and we have a wide breadth across the country. We trade across 40 different states, manage over 25 gigs of gen and 30 gigs of peak demand, and trade a decent amount of gas as well. And here's our customers across the footprint. T Solutions, the sister company of the Energy Authority, because like I mentioned, TEA is a nonprofit entity, and to be able to work with cooperatives and Indian tribes, for example, we created T Solutions. So anything we do with T Solutions is tax. That's really the only part of it. It's still the same people, same resources, doing the same work for community-owned entities. And solution-wise, we do a wide array of things. Energy trading, advisory services, kind of our core, and then portfolio management. But you can see here, T's really grown up through the years and provided a lot of services related to the energy transition. And so one of them is data dynamics. We have a specialized group now, trying to take the data from AMI meters. It's beyond meters of cash, but all these different things and a lot of stuff you guys have talked about today, just about, working with finding use cases to get actual ROI on your data and being able to understand it. And so these are a few things: voltage insights, customer insights, etc. And I don't know about you guys, but big data dynamics, it's like, I don't even know what to do. That's me. But we do have all these smart quants and data scientists that kind of help bring it all together. So speaks to the specialized skill set that I think you have to have. And not that utilities don't have it, but it's hard to keep and maintain good specialized talent like that. So that's something that we bring in the community. I won't go through a lot of this. There's just a couple of use cases for the AMI data insights, since we're short on time. So I'll touch on resource planning. So a lot of customers are coming to us, and you guys have all heard, capacity prices are rising. Why are capacity planning methodologies changing? What are other utilities doing? Et cetera, et cetera. And so it's no surprise, the orange and the red is bad, but across the board, capacity is tight, and volatility has been increasing as we see units retire and we see more renewables added to the grid. So, it's a heightened sense of urgency from upper management and utilities to try to figure out and plan for the future. And so planning has become more difficult just with the generation fleet changing and the energy transition. But everybody's talking about it. This is from NERC, that chart before, just trying to highlight here, the rapidly changing resource mix, extreme weather, environmental policy, and then evolving threat landscape. So just a lot of different stuff that's continuing to happen and cause challenges for all of us. Here's just a quick snapshot of resource planning and what we're seeing for unit additions across the different markets from CERC to ISO New England. A lot of natural gas, and probably in a lot of these, the snapshot was probably from a few months ago, but you probably see a lot more natural gas in the stacks here expected. Oops. Sorry about that. I do here. I took a presentation mode. Another factor is just extreme weather events, and this is only through 2020, but it just is supposed to illustrate how extreme weather, how more weather events that we've seen across the years. This doesn't even include Uri, but the point is, it's hard to plan and predict weather, because we see these events that are supposed to be 1 in 10-year events happening every year now. So it just causes more complexity from a planning perspective. And then the big story now is loads are continuing to be forecasted to be super extreme. This is 22 versus 23 forecast, 5-year nationwide growth forecast. Peak going from 835 gigs to 852. Here's another example for PJM. This is 27, 29, and 30, 38. If you look down here, 13% increase expected. This is ERCOT, expected to double by 2030. They just peaked this past week that you shared with us was 85.6. They're expecting 160 gigs of demand by 2030. So, I mean, it's huge. I mean, so, I mean, it's just how do you plan for this stuff? And on top of that, ELCC and accreditation changes are really, dampening things. What stood out to me, this is just PJM, but SPP, MISO, they all look the same. Like a 4-hour storage, we used to be able to get expected 76% accreditation. But now, in this most recent update, 59%. And so a 10-hour battery, 92% to 78%. I mean, people are buying these. Part of the value stream is the capacity component. And if you can't get it, it might change your decision what to purchase and invest in the future. So what can we do? What are we doing? So, trying to follow the policies, the changes in the market, what's going on globally, regionally, using our insights, what we're seeing in the market, and then trying to potentially, model out the different scenarios, potential futures. Is there a carbon tax? Is, different stress tests between volatility scenarios and weather, et cetera. So trying to model out those outcomes, and then using we have a lot of different tools, as I'm sure a lot of you guys do too, like Flexos and Dazer and in-house models that we build, and trying to do, 30-year NPV, studies to try to figure out, what's the best decision to do today and to make today to invest in. So we're getting a lot of this from customers today, trying to help them understand what their features should look like. So, and then, part of this looks like is just, we talked a little bit earlier too, just about, this is the electric kind of net load curve. And then just how do you predict, nobody predicted such a duck curve in CAISO, for example, but you can see here, 2019 through 2030, as so much solar has been added to the footprint, you have this big belly here in the middle of the day that you never used to have. But every market has a little bit different regional landscape, generation mix, which is causing changes throughout the day. So it's hard to find matching resources to meet the peak demands. So again, just adds to the challenges, but this is the kind of stuff that we're trying to study and understand.
This has been a production of Hometown Connections. Thank you for watching.